I'm Andrew Greenberg, co-creator of the Fading Suns universe and one of the designers on Emperor of the Fading Suns, Passion Play, and many more games. In fact, the team making Noble Armada has been integral to more than a dozen role-playing games, numerous miniatures games, dozens of computer games, a plethora of mobile games, and even a couple card games.
In the beginning was the Fading Suns, then came Emperor of the Fading Suns. And these begat Passion Play, War in the Heavens, Lords and Priests, and many more, until Noble Armada.
Noble Armada began life as a miniatures game set in the Fading Suns universe. Now on its third edition, it features an amazing array of starship figures, perfect for a video game.
A starship combat game of broadsides and boarding action. Players maneuver to line up their best shots, deliver devastating damage, and close to end it with blasters and cutlasses on the enemy vessel.
There are great rewards in this Kickstarter. Just check them out, they're right over there. Rewards range from the PC game to the mission editor to copies of the miniatures game to the miniatures themselves. Increase your support to get signed versions of the rulebooks and hard to find spaceships. At the highest level, you become part of the game. Engage in an epic Noble Armada battle at Gen Con. We really appreciate your support and look forward to what we can create with your help.
Hello everybody, Chris with Click Team. Welcome to another Reactor stream. Today we're going to play a little bit of Noble Armada, which is currently in Kickstarter. Some of you may know it's a game I've actually been working on for the last 5 years for a company called Holistic Studios, and we're pretty excited about doing it. The game's near done. We're gonna show you the level editor, what we're gonna call the mission editor, and then we're gonna play a mission I'm gonna release with the demo that we hope to do soon. During the Kickstarter. Afterwards, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a split screen example. I was in my class that I teach, Click Team Fusion for Programming, with some high schoolers, and their game Fire Truck Frenzy needed split screen. After making them sit in front of the computer for 10 minutes and stare at it blankly, I then worked out how to do the split screen fairly easy. It's pretty neat, and I figured it'd be kind of cool to share. But first, let's talk about Noble Armada. Noble Armada Lost Worlds is based on Holistic Design's tabletop RPG, Noble Armada. I started the project around 5 years ago, and it's been a heck of a trip. Very, very cool tabletop RPG game, and one of my jobs was to try to map that into the format of a mobile and PC game. And hopefully you like what you see. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the editor. The game, one of the reasons we're kickstarting is to try to get this level editor polished up and released with the game. And if we actually reach a stretch goal, we're going to expand it from just missions to campaign editor as well, which will be a larger scale series of missions. Currently, a mission consists of your fleet of 4 ships, maximum 4 ships, interacting with other enemy fleets and planets on one system in the unknown worlds, Lost Worlds. So let's run the editor real quick just to see what the editor looks like. So there's our title, and I've got to change that. That's we went from Fading Suns Noble Armada to Noble Armada Lost Worlds. So see, that's already there are things that need to be changed, and that's why we need your help on the Kickstarter, because I got to change the graphics. All right, so you click the button on your mouse, and you get your little load dialog. Well, these are all the levels that you can do. You can click folder, and that will actually give you the campaign files, which we'll call mission files, that you actually would pack in with the game. For the Steam version, users will be able to use Steam Workshop to download the missions and hopefully campaigns into their game. And then new if you want to launch a brand new one. But we're going to load Emperor's Challenge because that's the one we're going to play. So as you can see, we have all these different settings. One bug that I have to fix is currently in this campaign, you only get one ship. And for some reason, when it loads the ship data, when you try to re-edit the campaign, it still pops these active when they should actually look more like this at load time. So we'll just set the other ones back so that it looks right. There you go. There you go. So, and you can change your ship makeup. You can change the weapon layout to the 4 different weapon systems we have available currently. You can change the experience of the crew. There's 4 levels of experience. The better your crew and the better your Marines are, the more effective your ship is in combat. And then, so that's the fleet dialogue. Here on the side are the different houses that you can select. If I were to just only have one house selected, then when you play the game, if you select, in this case, House Hawkwood, this mission would become available. But if it was this way and I selected House Hawkwood, you wouldn't get this mission as available because it's only a Ducados mission. So, but you can have multiple houses or all 5 of them if you want. Here's the cycle graphics. We have several graphics sets. We're still polishing them up, but this will, give you a little more variety in the gameplay. And then you've got some other buttons here. Save campaign, we use that to actually save what will be the mission. Load, obviously that's load campaign. Add waypoint generates these little waypoint buttons. And then down here you have your planets, right? So if I clicked on E, it would generate the 5th planet that you can use. And then under the edit button, I can edit what type of facilities are available, which we'll see in the game, the name of the planet, and you can add a story element. If I don't want the planets, then it's a simple matter of just, I believe, hey, look at that. I'm going to write that down. I don't see a way to delete the planet. So let me write that down. We found our first issue for the day. See, I should stream more often. Delete planet from editor. We're not going to save it, so no big deal. But here's an example. If I go to this planet, which is planet B, I believe, you can see that I've already given it a name, and the 2 facilities are available at the planet, and there's some story. Now, waypoints are slightly different. If I click on a waypoint, you'll see that I get a mission type. I can select which avatar will display at the end of the game, and I can pick which house. So that last button there randomly picks which house, so it'll be random, or you can set a specific house. I believe we had Ducados. And then these are the buttons that allow you to pick your ship makeup. You can battle up to 8 ships in the game. So 8 enemy ships you can battle against, and you can have a maximum fleet of 4. And then let's say I wanted to, well, just for fun, for funsies, I want to connect. You can only move between waypoints. So if I wanted to connect this planet into the waypoint system, I could right-click, and then it would drop my line. And then you see I have a blank spot, or then by adding a waypoint, I could drop in the waypoint. So once you've built your level out and you're happy with what your mission's going to be, you go to Save Campaign, and you have campaign name, system name, and campaign info. And then that's basically the state of the level editor, the mission editor now. Again, we want to make a campaign editor which will be a higher level, which will allow you to assemble several missions and have larger stories. As you watch this, if you guys have any comments, feel free to visit our Patreon, Kickstarter rather, and leave us some comments. We really would like to know what we can do to improve this aspect of the game. This tool originally started as just an insider programmer tool for us and the guys at Holistic Designs to build missions. But with this polished up, we hope to extend that capability to you. But we'd love to hear what you think we should add. So please leave us hints, tips. Do this, don't do that. You're out of your mind, whatever it is. So I saved the campaign as Emperor's Challenge, and it's going to be an exclusive mission just to the demo, just to demonstrate the game. So let's do that. Let's see what we're working on with the demo. You know what? That's no fun. That's some programming code that I left in there to jump directly to the game. I'm going to remove that so we can see the fancy title. Hey, Jeff. Yeah, I agree. Thank you for the backing it. We really appreciate it. And yeah, you're right. Well, that's one thing that Click Team has been trying really hard over the last couple of years is to really demonstrate that Fusion can do a lot more than just your basic arcade game. So I really do appreciate the comment there. And I'm just going to peek at YouTube, see if anybody's got comments there. So Geek Apocalypse says on YouTube, what is the behind developer? I want one of those circles of I don't know what it is. If it's something behind me, I don't know. You have to be more clear. Do we have any info on future Steam sales? No, actually, I don't. We usually participate in the summer sale, so that's the only thing I can probably tell you that is upcoming. And Marco, don't wait, man. Make Fusion work for you. Upgrade now. Take advantage of it. Turn that into money. You can do it. We believe you. We believe in you. Okay, cool. So let's run the game. Now, if someone who is next to their keyboard can tell me if the audio is okay on the game, that would be great. All right, so here's our title screen. Cool dying sun in the background. Again, Noble Armada is based in Holistic Design's Fading Suns universe. The most briefest history I can give you is that the Fading Suns universe is exactly what it says. It's at near the end of time, and the suns themselves are dying out. And so you have this feudal kind of empire of mankind that has been in decline for centuries. And we're basically in these various noble houses fighting over what's left. So it's kind of a very cool dystopian dark future that is really cool, that I really dig, and I'm glad I was able to participate in creating for it. So this is what the demo is going to look like. Fancy looking start button. There you go. That voice was Ilker, who did all the art in the game. And here's our campaign screen. So in the full game, you're going to have skirmish mode. This will be extras, and we'll talk about the tabletop RPG and the history of the Fading Suns. Achievements. We'll probably have Steam achievements as well as achievements for other platforms. Your credit screen. Your option screen. And then the campaign, which we're going to change that to missions and have an additional layer above it for campaigns. So let's go into the campaign. So now the gate configures itself to allow you to pick which house you want to be in. Most folks like the Hawkwood because they're the noble and decent Hawkwood. Andrew Greenberg of Holistic Design consistently refers to the Ducados as the evil Ducados. And maybe that's exemplified in their praying mantis kind of stance there. I'm a big fan of Hazat. I probably will play Hazat today because each ship in the game, there's 3 ship types. There's the Explorer, the Frigate, and the Galliot, and each ship type in each house has different configurations. The Hazat are, for me, a little difficult to play with because they have shorter gun range and they don't have as many gun mounts on their ships, whereas Hawkwood is a real good intro fleet to play in. They've got good range and they've got a good number of armament points on their ship. So we'll go ahead and pick that. Then we got the tutorial. Maybe we'll just go through the tutorial real quick. Time to liberate the noobs of Nooblandia. Click on the green planet to fly from the jump gate to it. You'll encounter the evil Ducados along the way. See? Evil Ducados along the way, so be prepared for a fight. So you've selected your mission, and then the game starts. And there's one of the famed jump gates from the Fading Suns universe, and a couple Hawkwood vessels pouring out of it. Hopefully the Pan Creator does bless us as we go through the tutorial. Okay, Andrew, cut it out. Thank you, Marco. We'll consider doing that. Oh, so it looks like we found a bug. It's not supposed to do that. And I'm wondering if the bug is because I edited the sound. I've been trying to lower the sound for a while now to no avail. So we're going to run through this real quick. So that's no longer an issue. So the issue must be in here. All right, so I want to copy that. So I'm manually setting the volume there. And it's either a 0 or 100. And what happens is on this intro screen that took too long to go through, which is here, I believe. Let's make sure. Nope, one back. It's comparing to the music volume. So I kind of messed it up there. So what we'll do is for this screen only, we will switch it back to 100. These events will get removed anyways when the demo is released or the full game. And then we'll paste these back here, and we'll set this back to 100, and that should fix it. Again, we're comparing music and increasing the volume to match music, and when the number isn't matching the hardwired numbers, it doesn't work. So that's why it didn't work. So that should fix it. We'll do it again. It's those evil Ducatos. They're hacking our code. Well, Geek Apocalypse, if you want to, you can make a game like Nexon's Maple Story. Just time and effort. That's all Fusion requires is your time and effort. It does most of the heavy lifting. Back to campaign. Back to the Noble Hawkwoods.
Your will be done.
We were doing tutorial. Let's hopefully this works. There it is. It's gonna work. I can hear the music fading in. And there's our one vessel jumping in. All right. So this is the tutorial that walks you through. To visit a planet, click it, and here's the planet we want to go to. And as you can see for the tutorial, it's pretty simple. It's a one-planet system. And basically they're saying that if there's a ship on that navigation line between your start point and the destination, that will engage an attack. So as you can see, we are going to end up in a battle. All right, I have better range than the Ducatos, so soften them up before boarding. Softening them up will damage the number of troops on their ship, so when I board them, hopefully that tilts the scale of my Marines versus their Marines. So here's my one ship. This would be the Explorer type of vessel, and then of course each house has a different name for each type of class ship. These buttons down here, if we had multiple ships, they create different formations. But right now we just have one ship, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so we zoomed out. That gives you kind of an outline of what's going on and what your overall mission is: defeat all the enemies. And it looks like we're piloting the Annalise. And here comes our combat tutorial. So clicking the ship pauses the game, so you can give it orders. There are two types of orders. There's navigational and combat orders. And we're going to first manipulate navigation. So I need to turn the ship's direction. So now I'm facing a different direction. But if you'll notice, my direction indicator is still pointing the opposite direction. And that's because in space, it's all vector-based. So now I need to add some thrust. By adjusting my speed, I've now changed my vector. So pressing the green arrow will launch me along my way. This lets you know that if you had multiple ships, you could cycle through them with this button. And then this tells you about the weapon systems. So this particular vessel has firing arcs on the starboard and port sides of the ship. And just like when we moved, we hit the play button to continue the game. So, thrust forward. We got to get that enemy in range. He's launching a volley at me. Luckily for the demo, you can't get hurt. So now we're in range. Now, in Noble Armada, it uses some of the naval terminology. Right now, we're going to make the T. If you notice, and it's hard to see behind the grapple icon, but we're facing towards each other. We're looking right at each other. Now, that's great for when they shoot at you, and when they shoot at you, because you're showing them less of an hittable surface, right? But by making the T, we're going to be able to angle the ship so that we can get our hard points to angle on them. And typically in Noble Armada, the lengthwise ends of the ship carry the most weapon systems. So by making the T, we can do the traditional broadside. This green button here allows you to review each individual ship's information in a subscreen. And then it's going to talk about the grappling hook. So now we've hit the ship with some volleys, and we've weakened them up a little bit. Noble Armada is also a lot about boarding, desperate boarding actions, as the description goes. So we want to transfer our Marines to the ship, and the quicker we can seize control of the ship and render it out of the game, the more money we'll get for that ship when we bring it to market. So we're going to go ahead and go to the targeting system. Oh, there we go. There's the hook. So we've hooked the ship, and then I'm going to deploy our Marines. You can see them coming out, hard chargers that they are. And now we're in the boarding screen. So here's the ship we're boarding. You can see that they only have one shield quadrant left. We've removed a lot of their shielding and possibly some of their armor. Flashing hexes are the boarding points on the ship. So for us, because we're boarding an enemy ship, we select which of these points we want to board on from our available boarding parties. Now, another thing to keep in mind is sometimes you have to defend your ship from the enemy boarding you, and these are the points you would want to watch for the enemies coming out of. So now I can board down to this squad, or I can board this way. Now, knowing that we don't have a whole lot of Marines to board with, the objective of the game is to seize the bridge, which is flashing in white. So you don't always want to attack all the different boarding parties, defense parties that are on the ship. Sometimes you want to use your strategy to lure them away, and then, because if I leave this guy here, and then I end my turn, these guys are going to naturally gravitate to repel this party, which allows me to pull in other guys and maybe circumvent them. But being they're already down here, I'm going to add one more and then end my turn. So it's telling us we got to seize the bridge. All right, so that's an interesting pattern. So I think we're gonna go down, and now we're having a battle. It's pretty tight. And we didn't wipe them out. They wiped out our squad, but we severely weakened them. So I'm going to pull in another squad here, and I'm going to end the turn. And that's good. So during their turn, they attacked and did limited damage here. And I quickly wipe out that unit. So now we're looking pretty good. I have 10 turns left to take the bridge. Good. So it's pretty much up to us. Now, if I put one more boarding party on, we'll have an overwhelming victory. Or maybe it's 2 more parties. Yep, there it goes. Overwhelming odds. So we won the ship. And that's victory because there's only one ship to deal with. This is your review screen. This guy might look familiar. Apparently we didn't get any money out of that particular battle, but this value of Firebirds is dependent on how much of the ship you saved, how much damage the ship incurred, and how long it took you to board. Looks like our crew got promoted during this action. There's no repairs needed, so I don't have to hit the repair button. If there was damage to one of the different quadrants on the vessel, it would let me know how much it costs to repair it. That's it. We finished the tutorial. So we're looking pretty good. So now we'll try the Emperor's Challenge now that we know all that. So you have volume now, Georgia Game Dev? We'd love to see what you come up with, Marco Dev. That's great. Okay, good. So now we're in, if you remember when we went through the editor, now you can see that world laid out here. So here's our one vessel. In this particular battle, we only have one vessel tutorial. but it's a galleot. It's a much bigger ship. So let's go ahead and try to get to the first planet. 2 Ducados Reapers have pinged us. Reapers are for the Ducados. They're Explorer-class vessels. It seems the Emperor's first challenge has begun. That Emperor. He's always challenging people. What's his deal? Alright, so now we're in the midst of the battle. This particular world has a little bit of debris. For some reason we don't have music, so that's interesting. But I'm just going to start waylaying to these guys. You'll notice that this class vessel had much stronger weapon systems and a lot more hard points to shoot more rounds. The cost, of course, is the larger the ship, the slower it moves. Make the T. Take them out. The Alexandria makes it another day. So in this case, we reclaimed 45 Firebirds. And this is something that we still need to balance, I think. So we took a little damage to our front side, and I think that's the port side. So our fleet cost repair is 25. Let's go ahead and do it. And we didn't really get much in the repair, but we did get our crew promoted, so that's good. So, the Emperor's representative, that's spelled wrong, I'll award you a house banner for completing the first challenge. Can't but help notice, it comes with a smirk. Sneaky guy. Expression gives you the sense that he doesn't expect to see you again. This gives you a chill as you wonder what challenges await you. So the idea was to build a little bit of story with the game, and that's what these panels do. So now that we're in orbit over this planet, we can access our main navigation screen, where our fleet is represented. And then if I pick a ship, I can click on the weapon systems, and I could change them. I'm not going to do it with this particular ship, though. And then we have 2 shops. This particular shop should be a dockyard, so I could buy a new ship and add it to my fleet. And of course, that costs me money. And now that I have a new ship, I could go in here and configure that ship. And I think we're going to go with one of these in the front and one of these in the back. And of course, if I wanted to, I still have money. I could buy one more, add to my fleet. And I could configure that ship too. So this one is properly configured. Now this one, I want to do the same configuration so I don't get confused in the battle. Alright, I think we're ready to rock. Probably want to see what this other shop is. And this is a repair facility. And there we go. So the reason why it was 7-8 before when I repaired is because when you do in-battle repair or post-battle repair, it's not at a repair station, so you don't get the most effective repairs. But when you pay for repairs at a repair station, you usually get 100% repair. Alright, well I think we're done here. Let's move on to the next planet. A majestic Hawkwood Darius is flanked by 2 smaller wayfarers downrange. A great challenge indeed. So this should be fleet to fleet, really. Here's another bug. I better write it down. Adding new ships is not mapping defaults X and Y. So we'll just do it manually. There you go. Now we can demonstrate the settings button. All right. So it's fleet to fleet. We're evenly matched. So here's our ships and the enemy Hawkwood ships. Must be inter-house politics. So we should probably get to work quickly and dispatch these foes. Nothing will stand in the way of us achieving the second banner. Time to see a new weapon. The beam weapon. Very effective up close. The closer you are, the more damage it will do. Those people are having a bad day. And I think we still have some balancing to do with the weapons, too. Explorer class, very maneuverable. Let's see if we can sneak in and hit him with the beam weapon. Oh, that's a bug. No matter, we win. And we got a little bit more money that time around. Couple promotions, excellent. And fleet repairs is pretty cheap, so let's go ahead and see if we can do it. And then we move on to the second planet. We meet the Imperial representative again, and as soon as he hands you the second banner, his expression is one of shock as you receive it. He turns away and mutters something that sounds a lot like you won't pass the next challenge. What kind of shops do we have here? So we could buy some weapons if we wanted to. We'll buy one of these bad boys. Another repair facility. And then let's put that new weapon system on our big ship. So let's swap it out. There we go. 5 Hazat Scorpions. So 5 highly maneuverable Explorer-class vessels against my fleet. Ooh, he ran right... Did you see that? He ran right into the obstacle. Poor guy. We're going to take out 4 of these guys, and then we're going to board the last one. Pull it off. Oh, he took my cannon. So what happened here is I took direct damage to the front of the ship. These class ships do not have a lot of shielding, so not only did he take out my armor and shielding, but he damaged the weapon system. So, let's see if we can fire from the back. Deep core will have to take over. Now here's an interesting, sometimes the range, if this, see how this guy's out of range? If I wanted to, I could telegraph my shot. So the front's the only one that has range. So let's say my ship was down here. One of the advantages of this engine is you can target destroyed vessels. I can't target him. He's too far out of my target range, but I could use this guy to telegraph my shot. It's a little hidden strategy you can do in the game, and we'll just do it for fun to see what we get. But because I'm using a beam weapon, it was out of range. Let's see if we can get this guy. Done deal. Two weapon systems. This is not good. Oh, this guy is beyond damage. Get out of there, buddy. Bounty. Alright. So we only have 2 boarding opportunities, so there's not a whole lot of strategy due to the size of the ship and configuration. We'll see what we can do. Probably going to get an overwhelming odds victory here. There you go. So all we have left is this dude up here. Maybe the deep core can help us out. In range. And we win. There we go. So that's how that works. And then we'll have a ton of different campaigns. So does anyone have any questions so far on the game? Hey, that's a great suggestion, Jeff, for the hotkeys. I like it. Good on you, mate. Hotkeys for top buttons. I love it. That's excellent. Thank you. Why didn't we think of that? I guess that's why we get you to come here and watch my stupid videos. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's see if there's any questions over on the other side. Thank you for the explosion comment, Marco Dave. Yeah, it's a combination of some ink effects, some animated explosion graphics, which I can show you, and a little algorithm to make them explode. So the idea was that if you hit a ship on this angle, that the explosion effect would shoot off like that. So there's a little algorithm to do it. And it's all basically made up out of that, just this. So it's cool what you can do when you generate particles in interesting ways. All right, let's see if we have any other questions on the other side. Yeah, hotkeys in the campaign editor would be really cool too. Campaign/mission editor. Well, unless we have some more questions on Noble Armada, I was going to get to split screen for everybody. Again, if you can, you like the game, you like what you saw, please visit our Kickstarter. I will have Andrew drop the link into Twitch for you, and I will get the link posted to, once he does, posted to YouTube. And we really could use your support. We're not looking for a lot. We just need a little bit more that was outside of the budget that we planned for to do these extra features and put some real value into the game beyond what we already have. We got multiple battle objectives that I haven't shown you. We may do another stream later. Seize the space station, destroy all ships, onslaught mode. We have a mode where you have to run blockades, trying to add variety to the game design. We want to add a little bit more here, make this a little more interesting. This is a picture from our skirmish mode, so you can just go straight and just have battles and configure them however you want. The stretch goals are cool. If we can hit the 4,500, so that's only 1,000 more than our funding level, we'll then take campaign mode, make it mission mode, and add that campaign editor so you can make even bigger stories in the game. And then as you can see, it goes on from there all the way to here where we will get an Xbox and Switch version. I think this game would be excellent on the Switch with the dual analogs. Maybe because I just got a Switch and I'm all about the Switch right now. But yeah, it would be pretty cool. And then there's a ton of rewards. If one of you is, you know, the second coming of the Pan Creator, we still have the Dreadnought available, where you can actually go out to Gen Con and run a game with one of the creators, Mr. Weiss, of the Fading Suns Noble Armada universe. But any support you can give, even if it's $1, is incredibly appreciated. We really want to get this game going and reboot the Fading Suns universe in the PC gaming world, and I hope to continue to be a part of it. A really cool story. I shared it in the previous video. I went to GDC, 6 years ago, and I had made a game called Vincere Totus Astrium. It's a 4X casual game, casual strategy game. That's how I marketed it on mobile. Made it in Fusion, of course, and it was the first real 4X game on iOS, which I'm kind of proud of. And I showed it to Andrew. I didn't know who Andrew was, and he liked it. Now, the reason why I made Vincere Totus Astrium is because in the mid-90s, being a huge gamer since, you know, Atari, I came across my first real hardcore strategy game. I hadn't played much strategy games before that, and it was on a Sega Soft disc, and it was called Emperor of the Fading Suns. Emperor of the... Look, it's even trends. So it was this game right here, Emperor of the Fading Suns. And it was just a demo because it was a full bunch of Sega Soft. It was the Sega Department's PC division. And they handed out this demo disc, and I played that demo hours on end. I couldn't get the game because it was, you know, pre-Amazon, pre-internet in the early 90s, and I lived in the state of Maine, and we don't get anything in Maine except for lobsters, trees, and blueberries. So I played that disc over and over and over and over again. I just fell in love with the strategy genre. And then I met other games, you know, like Master of Orion, which VTA is heavily inspired by, Civilization, and but this was the first strategy game I fell in love with. So after I meet Andrew, he's like, well, come out to, when we get back to Atlanta, because we both lived in Atlanta, come look me up and we'll talk. And so I came and talked, and he said, I want you to work on this game called Noble Armada. And I discussed what I thought would be a good idea, and he seemed to like it enough to hire me to do the game. And then I discovered, at this point I still didn't know, 3 weeks later I discovered he's the guy who came up with the game that got me in love with strategy games to begin with. So it's really cool to have been able to work on this game and, you know, be able to contribute to something that got me started with strategy games to begin with. So, again, Kickstarter, there's the link. Andrew put it up. I will transfer it over to YouTube for the YouTubers to take a look. And it won't let me put a link, so you can visit the Patreon page, and we'll have the link there for you. Or maybe I can just put it in the description, which I can't edit right now. So I'll put it in the description of the YouTube video. You can also go to our Patreon page. So Toon Noah showed up to ask if ClickTeam Fusion 3 is coming out soon. Toon, you should get Fusion 2.5 regardless, because A, we could use your support at ClickTeam, and B, don't put off to tomorrow what you can get started today. If this game hopefully is an example, you can do whatever you want in Fusion, and you don't have to wait for 3 to get started. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, so let's go ahead and work on split screen. By the way, Andrew, I appreciate you coming in and participating in the stream. Everybody give Andrew on Twitch a hand. That's in fact Andrew Greenberg from Holistic Designs. Again, thanks for showing up to the stream, sir. All right, so again, as with most things in Fusion, we're going to do split screen today. And the first thing we have to do, File New. Now, I've had a couple people who can't figure out File New. If you're one of those individuals who can't do File New, I strongly recommend that you do not get into programming. So I'm going to set my resolution. Actually, I should do it at the application level. I want to make it a little bigger for funsies. 640. And then we got to change it here. All right, so the first thing we got to do is make the actual world. So we'll call this game frame. And actually, it needs to be much bigger because we're going to be doing scrolling. So I'm just going to make it 4,000 by 4,000. And then we're going to go in here. We're going to grab a quick backdrop object. We're going to set it to motif. We're going to edit that motif because, you know, that's the kind of people we are. We edit our motifs. Go with that sexy green color. Just put a line here. Put a line here. And that gives us that grid. Reposition it. Resize it. And now we've got a grid. And the reason why I wanted a grid is because we need to be able to see that it's scrolling. So now we need two objects to be our two players. So this will be player 1. We'll recolor the famous Fusion Blue Diamond. And we'll do it the quick way. And the first color will be blue. And then we'll clone that. And we will delete the space. And we'll recolor that one rouge. All right, so now we got our two players. Now we need to give them controls. I want to select both. And we'll go with 8 directions for now. Excellent. And for initial direction, I'm going to sync them to one type of initial direction. So now the problem is, and you'll see, they're both controlled by the same movement keys. So we're going to rig the second player to function with the WASD. So we go here, up will be W, down will be S, left will be A, right will be D. Yo, WASD. And we'll hit OK. Great, so now I can control 1. Still not doing it. Why is that? Debug, Chris. Because you didn't select player 2 for the second object. And survey says we're golden. One other thing I want to do is put a counter on here. So I'm going to grab a counter object. We're going to find that bad boy. Counter object C. We're going to make it much bigger. And then using the color yellow. Probably made it too big. We'll have to shrink it a little bit. Okay. Yeah, a little too big. Went a little overboard. Hopefully that'll work. Okay, now we're going to declare a global value. And we're going to call it frame instance. Wonderbar. And then, so now we've kind of got what we're trying to do here. I'm going to say start a frame. Okay. Add to value. Frame instance 1. Okay. And then we're going to set the counter to the current frame instance. Okay, what am I doing here, right? So when I drag a second player in here, I've got 2 separate objects, but they're the same object, right? They're multiple instances of the same object. Well, we can actually do that using the sub application for frames as well. So we'll call this main frame, and we're going to grab the sub app, which is here, and it will default to the second frame. And if I run it, running the whole thing, now if I just ran just the frame, I'd get nothing because it won't initiate the subframes because you're only running the one frame. So you have to run, when using sub application, you got to run the entire app to test. And you'll see that's what we get. Now, I'm going to go here, I'm going to share global values, and I'm going to go with custom size, and I'm going to, where do I change the size? Can I do it now? Nope. Gotta change that stretch film display docked. Nope. I did this yesterday. How did I do it? Stretch frame to object size. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to do customable size. Okay. It's one of these functions. Pop up? No. That couldn't have been it. Oh, maybe. No, because you see, when I did that, yeah, there you go. So the height needs to be half of the frame width, or app width, so that's 320. And we only need it to be 1036 wide. So we're going to call this frame 1. And then we're going to clone it. We should get frame 2. Now let's run it and see what happens. Notice I get 1 and I get 2. That's because it initiates this one first, and this becomes the first instance of that frame. Then we initiate the second sub-application, which is pointed to the same frame, and it gives us the second instance of the frame. And when I control, it moves just the second frame, which is not supposed to do that. We're getting close. Yes, customizable size. Good, because it's a pop-up window. Interesting. Oh, there we go. I didn't have focus. And that's because they're both pop-up windows. That's my bad. So pop-up window removes the focus on the frame below it. So that's where the error is there. So now if I run it, I should, yeah, there we go. Good so far. Okay, now we go back to the game frame, and the next thing we need to do is say if counter equals 1, then scrolling center window position in frame over the first player. So let's test that and see what happens. Now you notice that it's working, but it's dropped us down here. And that's simply because it's still accounting for the full size of the frame, which is technically 1136 by 640. So we have to adjust that by adding half of the width of the frame. So we offset that by 320, I believe is the right number. Let's see. Oh. So it's actually a quarter of the frame. So it would be 160. And now we run it. So the top one is now focused on the first player. Now we need to do the second player. If it equals 2, then we're going to center the display on the second player and still increase by 160. Funky Cold Medina is blown away by File New. It is impressive stuff, my friend. I can't deny that. So now we seem to... Oh, that's because I run just the game frame. So, yes, good, and good. Okay, now I'm going to put this guy up in the top corner, and we're going to illustrate the next problem. So we put him up right about there. So now we're going to go hunt him down with this guy. And you'll see the next issue. I don't know what that's about. That's new. See how they're not completely synced? See how this one is just slightly below, where here it's slightly above? So we have a syncing issue, and we can fix that. That's not a problem. One thing I need to figure out is why does it flicker? It shouldn't be flickering like that. So let's just make sure we have our sub-application settings correct. We seem to. Ah, okay, so this one isn't sized right. So 1136 by 320. Boom. That should take care of the flickering. So again, they weren't synced. So how do we sync them? Well, you know, that was something I chewed on yesterday, and my favorite friend, the string parser, came to help. So we're going to grab string parser, and we're going to declare 2 global strings. One is going to be player 1 data, and then the other one is going to be player 2 data. Okay, now what are we doing with that, right? So player 1, if this frame equals 1, so player frame 1, the top frame, which would be this one, we're feeding by user control this guy's movement, player 1 movement. So what we're going to do is we're going to set that global string, player 1 data. We're going to convert its X position to string data. Then we're going to throw in a pipe. Who doesn't like a good pipe? And then the Y data. So I'm going to feed that data for player 1. And alternatively, if we're on the second iteration, I want to change it to player 2. Okay, so now if it's the bottom frame, we're sending to our global value, which we can see here, the data for player 1 and for player 2. Now, all we have to do is then transpose that data into the object. Not as hard as you would think. So the first thing we do is we set our delimiter, which was that pipe symbol, so we know what we're dealing with. We can just set it to value 0. Then we need to pull our source string, and because we want to sync the red one, player 2, to the player 1 window, we need to pull player 2 data. So you can see that right there. Then we simply want to then go here, set X, and then we retrieve the element 1. Now you notice that it returns string data, so we convert that number, and we should be good to go. I'm going to copy that again, because then we need it for the Y value, which will be 2. Now alternatively, we want to sync the bottom screen to player 1 data, and using the same code, just swipe it over there. Now if all is said and done correctly, we'll move this guy somewhere weird. We'll use the edge of the screen here. We'll put him right about there. And then we're going to go chase him with player 2. Here he comes. Bingo, synced. Great success! So that's it. And you know, I searched for examples on the forums, and I couldn't find anything. So I put this together. If you guys like what I did, I will clean it up like I always do and put it up on the Reactor Click store page and community thread for you guys. Does anyone have any questions on this split screen example? Yes, success. Great success. Welcome to Noah to our Twitch page. He frequents the YouTube. So do you guys have any questions? Yeah, it's platform agnostic. The only thing we'd have to worry about is sub application, but I believe if we go into our manager, sub application is all platform compliant. Let me double check. Sub. I see. I won't even. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's just built in, so it won't even search. Yeah, I'm pretty confident it's 100% compatible. So you should be good. Great question. Yeah, so you could use this on iOS, Android, HTML5. You know, for folks who make something really cool and want to work with ClickTeam for a console conversion, it'll work on that too. Yeah, cool stuff. I'm glad you're getting your money's worth. That's what I aim for, and I am glad that you like the demo. So I guess I should put it up for you guys. It's amazing. You know, some people just will, in Fusion, in programming in general, they'll always look for the most complex solution. Like somehow the problem that they have in their mind is so complex that the solution must be complex. And I've learned over the years of game development and programming apps and Android data collection and whatever else I've done, that look for the simplest solution first, especially when things do get more complex. If you have a series of simple solutions put together that work elegantly, it's a lot better than having uber complex solutions all trying to figure out how to work with each other. Cool, Reactor, let's see, YouTube. Nothing more on YouTube, guys. Nothing more on Twitch. Well, I think that wraps up our hour for today. Again, I appreciate you watching. If you're new to the Reactor stream, consider visiting our Patreon page. This is what pays for me to do this. And we also give you some really cool freebies. You can still grab this month the Beat 'em Up engine, in-apps object, Shoot 'em Up engine. If you ever want to know exactly what's being given away for Reactor members, you can just click on the Reactor banner on ClickStore, and you can see all this stuff. So Bluetooth and game controller are still there, and then some of these are permanent items that we generated during our streams that you can have access to that demonstrate a bunch of stuff. So and then streams and giveaways and all sorts of the good stuff. So we could appreciate your support there. And if you liked Noble Armada, Andrew would love your support, so would I, with finishing the game. Summer, we're looking to have it done. And I believe he's, at the minimum, looking at a Steam release. He can comment if he's still around. And, yeah. Again, appreciate you guys watching, and we'll have another stream next Friday, if all goes well. Last Friday we didn't have a stream because I was handling the deluge of console requests since we've launched at ClickTeam our console conversion service. I can't announce which ones we're converting, but we do have quite a few now. I'm pretty excited about it. It's been a long time coming to have ClickTeam, Click creators get their games on consoles without much of a hassle. So it's exciting stuff. Challenge. Screen slicing merging. What do you mean by that, Funky Gold Medina? Why don't you give me a little more explanation, because I don't understand. I want to understand. I want to understand what you mean. If you can give me some more detail. I'll stick around after the stream if it takes you a little while to respond. All right, cool. Well, guys, thanks for watching The Reactor, and we'll talk to you soon.
I'm Andrew Greenberg, co-creator of the Fading Suns universe and one of the designers on Emperor the Fading Suns, Passion Play, and many more games. In fact, the team making Noble Armada has been integral to more than a dozen role-playing games, numerous miniatures games, dozens of computer games, a plethora of mobile games, and even a couple card games.
In the beginning was the Fading Suns, then came Emperor of the Fading Suns. And these begat Passion Play, War in the Heavens, Lords and Priests, and many more, until Noble Armada.
Noble Armada began life as a miniatures game set in the Fading Suns universe. Now on its third edition, it features an amazing array of starship figures, perfect for a video game.
A starship combat game of broadsides and boarding action. Players maneuver to line up their best shots, deliver devastating damage, and close to end it with blasters and cutlasses on the enemy vessel.
There are great rewards in this Kickstarter. Just check them out, they're right over there. Rewards range from the PC game to the mission editor to copies of the miniatures game to the miniatures themselves. Increase your support to get signed versions of the rulebooks and hard-to-find spaceships. At the highest level, you become part of the game. Engage in an epic Noble Armada battle at Gen Con. We really appreciate your support and look forward to what we can create with your help.